up to me in the grocery store and says, when I'm standing there with my husband and says, hey, I saw your videos on YouTube. My husband is terrified. He has no idea what they're talking about. I know exactly what they're talking about because I put them there. And I know because I search for myself and I'm consistent online. I'm the same person in social networking as I am when I network with you here. Consistency is key. And your image is a big part of that too. We live in a community here in Colorado that is more relaxed. It is more casual. And depending on the industry that you're in, there are certain norms. But how you present yourself tells me a lot about how you respect yourself and how you respect me. So pay attention to the image, your body language, the way that you're communicating your value to me tells me a lot about how I might want to get to know you more. And ultimately, it comes down to community. And I think that's one of the beautiful things that came out of social networking is we realized how small our communities really are and how incredibly large they are at the same time. I did just get back from Texas where I got an opportunity to speak with 600 Rotarians. And I was told that I gave the translators a run for their money because I talk kind of fast. But I met Rotarians from all over the world. And they shared such a common commitment to community. And that is such a gift that you all have. If that's a huge part of your value set, make sure that everyone who experiences you knows that. That it's not just a tangential thing that you put on the outside, that it really goes into your heart and it becomes a part of who you are in every time that I experience you. Some wrap-up points. Get ahead of your brand. Manage it before you need it. Manage your reputation before you need it. Before you're going out for a bid on a competitive project. Before you find yourself out of work. Before you find yourself in some life transition that causes you to stop and say, I don't even know who I am anymore. I was that, now I don't know who I am. Get ahead of it. As of today, you can start being more intentional about how you want people to feel about you. In some cases, it takes a long time to overcome. Maybe you've made some mistakes. Maybe you've bumped into some walls. We've all done it. But you can step forward in the direction of how you ultimately want to be remembered, starting right now. Share your authenticity. The beauty of people is that we're real and we're complex and we're messy and we're interesting. And the more real you are, the more I might have an opportunity to connect with you as a human being. And there's only one you, so it's a lot easier to be you than it is to be someone else. Focus on consistency from the way that you present yourself to the consistency of your marketing materials. If you have things like a website or a bio on your website, if you own your own company, how does your business card reflect who you are and the passion that you feel when you started that company? Or when you go out there as a business development expert and you're saying, I vouch for this. You can believe in my company and you can believe in me. My ask is that you pay it forward, because that's part of my value proposition, is that you learn how to help other people find their personal brand, find their voice, and really understand that there's only one of them, and it is the most powerful place to market from. A lot of my programs are very strategic, and we go into heavy-duty marketing. This is a little more of an inspirational message here today, but please pay it forward. Find someone in your community, in your job, in your household that you can show what it means to own your reputation. Don't take credit for the work of others. The world is way too transparent for that. Don't forget to thank people, and don't forget to lose sight, or don't lose sight of your desired reputation, because that place out in the future is what we're all working towards. Now, there are several ways you can get a hold of me. I do send a lot of information out by e-newsletter and by blog, and if you're interested in this personal branding journey, I would love to continue the dialogue and continue to feed you information that will help you become more marketable. As I mentioned, I do have some of my products in the back, and I am donating a percentage of sales to Rotary, the Denver chapter. I want to thank you so much for our time today. I was told to keep it exactly on time, and I think I've done a really good job because Jim hasn't jumped up here yet. I don't know if we have time for questions, or I tell you what, I will stay afterwards and have plenty of time afterwards.
We do have time.
Oh, okay. Do we have any questions? Or have I absolutely covered everything you ever wanted to know about personal branding?
Questions?
There's no wrong question. Yes.
So how do you know what other people think of you?
That is an excellent question, and that brings us to the concept of feedback. A lot of times if we're in a formal the question was, how do you know what other people think of you? The work that I do, we do a feedback assessment. Sometimes people have a company that has a performance review, and you can grab some of that information. There's also things like gossip, and I know gossip is an awful thing, and none of us want to pay attention to it, but I want you to think of feedback as a gift. So someone in passing says, well, really, Phil, the reason we didn't have you in that meeting is we know how you get. Well, wait a minute. What did a comment like that mean? And it would never happen to Phil, because we'd always want him in the meeting. But, somebody just gave you a gift, because it might hurt and it might sting, but remember, this process isn't easy. But they've given you an opportunity to course correct, to look at your own behavior and say, wow, that's not how I want to be remembered, so I better make some changes to make sure that I build myself in a different direction. That's what Olivia experienced as she overheard the conversation in the restroom. Oftentimes we're not given that direct information, but ask people. Go in the afternoon today and say, I just heard this program on personal brand. Do you think I have a personal brand? What do you think I'm known for? Why do my customers call me? Why am I referred into all these great situations? Or maybe, why did I not get that promotion? Why did they not hire me? You can ask your own feedback. And then anything that you get back is a gift. And the correct response is thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Question about congruence between your personal brand and the culture of the corporation in which you're working.
The question is, how do you match up, perhaps?
Well, it should be addressed, because the fact is your brand may be quite different in its values than what you might see in the corporate culture that you're in, because that's why we make decisions as to where we work.
True, and I would challenge to say that if they're completely different, you're probably not doing your best. You're probably not in an environment where you're thriving. And I have worked with a lot of large banks, a lot of large insurance companies, where that question comes up a lot. What if I don't feel and I don't believe in the mission of the company? That's an interesting place to find yourself, and perhaps you're not as effective as you hope to be. A lot of times we don't understand the value proposition of the company, and I've been on the corporate side. I've written those posters and those brand messages that sit all over the lunchroom. If you don't understand what your company stands for, the value proposition of the organization, then learn them. Learn and see if you don't actually align where you might misunderstand what the company stands for. But if you're really out of alignment, you're probably not doing your best work. Now, an add-on to that is I was recently hired by an international bank, and the problem they found themselves in was that everybody used the word we. We believe in this, and I won't say the name of the bank. We believe in this. Our customers can trust us for this. We will stand behind everything. Well, that's great until I'm sitting across the table from Jim, and I understand the brand of the company, but I'm looking you in the eyes. Do you believe it? Do you as an individual believe what you're telling me as a potential customer? That's where the rubber meets the road. That's what I need to experience, because companies don't buy from companies. People buy from people. And the company brand has to be consistent with your beliefs and your values. And then it's a matter of making a personal connection. I think we have a question in the back.
How valuable or realistic are customer surveys?
Depends on the question. It all depends on the question. I don't know any other way to answer that. I have seen some that were self-fulfilling prophecies. If the question is, we're great, aren't we? Versus companies that really do kind of peel the layers back. I recently did a brand assessment, which was more perception mapping for a large accounting firm here in Colorado. And the questions were around, how do we demonstrate trust? Because trust is a word they used a lot. And you really can't sell trust. I can't tell you to trust me. It's like saying I'm a good kisser. It's really for someone else to decide, right? It's not for me to tell you. Well, I can't tell you to trust me. I earn your trust. So we developed questions that were more about, how are you experiencing trust? How are we showing you that we can earn credibility for those values that we're putting out there? So it really has to do with the quality of the questions. Did we have a question in the back?
Yeah. I guess over time I've noticed that people, it gets kind of back to your thing that you said, that a lot of people are looking for safety. Mm-hmm. And I think I see that coming across a lot